Hi, welcome to Over the Hill Homesteaders. We're out on the back patio today. My sissy and I are going to be making a wreath. We thought it'd be fun just to show you. This is something that we've done for years and years, and we thought it'd be fun to show you. While my sissy's here in Missouri, it's just a fun thing to do this time of the year. It's turned fall, and the leaves are falling, and all the plants are starting to dry up, and so we thought it'd be a neat idea. So come along with us. Okay, let's get started. Suey, what are we going to do?
Today, I'm going to go through some of the steps that I use and Lisa uses to make a wreath. This base is styrofoam. You can find them most craft stores, Michael's, wherever your favorite craft store is. All different shapes, colors, kind. We thought we would use a small one today because it doesn't take so much time to work on and you'll have something right away. What we do is we use the top of a lid for a template to put in the middle of the styrofoam so you have a nice even cut around a round circle frame. Then we have the center is all cut and cut out. You want to be sure before you go further to glue the back. Otherwise it's real hard when you've already started to put your cones on there. This is on the back, so when you give it to someone or you put it in your home, it doesn't hurt your tables or anything that's around it on the table, glass, wood, whatever.
And you can find these little pieces of felt at any craft store, like at Michael's. I get mine at Michael's. And we do it for the season. So this season is fall, so we're using the fall colors. At Christmas time we use yellow or green and red and those kinds of colors.
What I have here is a type of moss that it looks like it's alive, but it's actually dried, and they call it Spanish moss. It comes in a couple of different colors. There's a light green, there's a darker green, some are either brown or even gray. Just whatever your preference is. Something that will hide the mechanics of your wreath and give it kind of a live look. What I do is, when I make mine, I get some pieces pulled out ahead of time because you're working with a hot glue gun, and as we all know, the glue gun doesn't wait for anyone, and it also just really can badly burn your fingers. What I want to do on this today is line this up where I want it and see if I have enough to kind of cover my area. So I'm going to ask Lisa to put some glue down for me. And when you're working with hot glue, you probably want to have a stick or some kind of an element that you can poke the moss down with and make sure that it's good and stuck without you using your fingers. I have too many scars on my fingers already doing that. And just any little stick will do that you have. And you can pat it. Just make it sure it's going to stick down like that. And you can go in sections. It's better not to do a whole big section at a time because you're working with a lot of hot temps here and it does melt the styrofoam and you don't want that stuck to you. Exactly. You want to put a little more in the back? You can work in small sections. There's no rush. And what you do is you poke it down with your stick and make sure that it's pretty well stuck before you go on, because like I say, the hot glue sometimes takes a little longer to stick. You want to make sure everything is there and covered for your design. The nice thing about this year is you can use anything you want. There's no rules.
So we're going to finish this up with the moss, and then we'll come back and we'll show you what we do next, okay?
And with the moss, and put it on, just a couple of little light burns, nothing really bad. But you notice that it's completely furry, and we're going to have to trim this a little bit. So don't be afraid to get your scissors, your designated craft scissors, so they don't go back into the kitchen, and give it a little trim. So you can set this down when you're done. And of course you can keep the scraps, you can put them in a little jar like I do at home, and it turns out really well because you get to keep on using it. Now my sister and I started doing this watching my mom, which is back in the 60s, and she had a business called Caprice. She would make wreaths all different sizes and things for a florist, and so we would watch and eventually tire. The biggest thrill, however, in this whole program was we would go into the forest with my mom into different parks and find these lovely dried cones, deodar roses, different things that are just beautiful out there all season long, and they're on the ground, so they're there for the taking. Of course, if you go on somebody else's property, you want to kind of ask them if it's okay to get pine cones. Point is that you don't have to buy these things from the craft show. Lisa, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go through and name some of these neat little things that we collected. These are sycamore bowls, right?
Yes.
So in California, these are all over the place. We lived in El Macero, and so they had a bunch of sycamore trees. So when I take my walk in the mornings, I would pick up and put them in a bag and bring them on home. And then these are from crepe myrtle. After the crepe myrtle blossoms, it gives this nice little cone or pod, and you can just take little bits of it and stick it in little tiny areas, which is cool. These are really cool. Then we have some, these are from my Rose of Sharon. I don't know if you can see it in my, no, can't see it. Anyway, this is my Rose of Sharon. After it blossoms, it puts out this nice little pod. And you can paint these if you want to. We kind of like to keep ours natural. We're into natural on ours. And then we also have some really neat, I have a tree out here. It's a, what is it, an oak tree. And it puts out these cute little, what are these called? Acorns.
Like an acorn.
Yeah. And so you can use it with the acorn in it, or you can use it without the acorn in it.
And they have these wonderful little acorns inside, which are a good space filler. These are really nice. You can wash them off a little bit, or you can put them in plain. You can put them in upside down, whatever you want to use for those.
Yeah, we don't go by a specific thing. It's just whatever we want to do. Like here's some bark.
With lichen on it.
Just bark off of a tree. And here's some pine cones. Everybody has a pine cone tree in their yard. But for this one, we're going to be using the little teeny tiny ones because we're working with such a small. But some wreaths, I've made a wreath that was probably the round of this table right here. It was huge, and it took a long time, but it was fun. We have some redwood cones over here at the Target shopping center in Davis. There was this awesome little plant, and it put out these really pretty yellow flowers. And then when they dried up, I was on my way into Target one day, I saw these, and they're really cool for wreaths. So what you do is you just keep your eyes open, and you look and you see these things, you start picking them up, you start collecting them, and then you have enough room to put them on a wreath.
And the nice thing is, if you run out of time or you don't have time to finish your wreath, you can always come back. And then you just continue on and do what you want to do, because it's your design, whatever you find. I have folks in my church in Prescott that bring me lots of cones and pods, little things they find in their yard that they just sweep away. And these things are all things pretty much that are out there every year after fall, all different states. So I have things from California, Arizona, and Missouri in my collection that I like to use.
So we're gonna, Susan did some trimming on this, and now we're gonna start putting it together.
What I'm going to use is one of the back sides of one of the little acorns that we have here. And if you want to give me that, I'm right-handed, and we'll go ahead. I like to put the glue on the back of the piece I'm going to use, and just put it down. Make sure it's got its first initial stick, and there you are. There's your start right there. And you can go with any other piece that you'd like to do. I kind of like to do patterns, but for today we're going to use different things. I'm going to use one of these little pods from the Rose of Sharon as a nice color, and you can put it right next to it. Then you have a difference in your size, so you have a little variation. You don't have everything all one shape, one color. Then we have another little pod from a little plant. You're going to put just a little dab on the back. You don't need a huge amount. And you can just put him right in there, wherever you like.
That's what's cool about this. If you're a symmetrical type of person and you want to do a pattern, you can do that. And it turns out really nice. But me, I'm just throw it here, throw it there, and it turns out really pretty at the end. So we're going to work on this a little bit, and then we'll come back and show you the product as it goes along. Hi, we're back here. We finished up our project. It got a little hot over on the deck, so we changed location, changed our clothes, and here we are. We finished our wreath. Look at it, isn't that beautiful? It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I'll do a close-up of this in just a little bit. But what we did was we finished it up. We stuffed it with neat little stuffings in there. You can stuff it with all kinds of stuff, anything that you want. And then we took it over and we got the Rust-Oleum crystal clear enamel. And what we do is we spray it real good so it keeps it and it's not so dry looking. It just gives it a nice sheen. So we gave about 2 coats of this. Sometimes I'll give 2 or 3 depending on what we like. And then at the very end, what we like to do is put a candle in the middle. Kind of makes it nice and festive and holiday-ish. So we usually put a little candle in it when we give them away or when we sell them. And it's just an awful fun time for us to be able to be together and work on something that's like a heritage. It's a heritage from our mom.
It was a gift from our mom to us, and we keep it dearly, and it's always a treasure when I come to visit my sister, and we go out and we find whatever we can for the season when I come to visit, and gather it up and make wreaths, and then we have that for the whole rest of the year. It's a nice heritage to pass along.
My sister was so kind to make this. This is a centerpiece that she made. And I'll do a close-up of this also. It has a little birdie in it, and it has the same items, exactly the same. And what is this down here, Sue?
This is a chicken pan. This is something I found over at either Tractor Supply or Cal Ranch stores. I think they have them all over. This is over in the poultry department. It's a feeding chicken pan. And what I did was, it's a whole different color. It's like a galvanized steel color when you buy it, and inside it has an insert with little spots for the chickens to feed out of. So I pulled that out, and I realized this is an excellent shape to put on your table full of cones or candles or whatever you want to make. But I sprayed it this color. It also does well in green, but it's another idea for using pine cones and pods and things that you find around your house.
And she also put a little bit of felt down on the bottom so it wouldn't wreck the table that it's on. So this is really a nice idea. And what we thought we'd do is this will be our giveaway at the end of the month, our free giveaway to our people that have joined in and become members with Over the Hill Homesteaders. So we'll be drawing drawing a name for this just at the end of the month. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited. We're excited to be together, our sissies, and Susan has just done an excellent job working with John, helping him recuperate from his stroke. He is doing well, and we're blessed. We're blessed. So thanks for coming by the homestead today. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.